What is the scene, folks? So this is week 6 of the vlog. In my recap of here's my recap of last week. The first thing I would like to talk about is the fact that I spent last week in this weird, hyper-focused, but very, very slow daze or trance, kind of like. This came about from me standardizing the hours with which I woke up, but I never got around to really standardizing the hours with which I went to bed. So since I said I was gonna wake up at 5:30, I haven't missed a day. I haven't missed a single day in the last few weeks. But I have still unfortunately been going to bed at the same time that I used to go to bed, which is most times 12, 12:30. And I guess by last week I just went into this weird trance where I was super, super focused on this one thing. All I wanted to do was work on Eutoro. And I guess from that, I now understand why cults they use sleep deprivation as one of their brainwashing techniques, because whatever is the predominant message you have coming in, you're gonna find yourself being focused on only that one thing. Like I only wanted to work on YouTube. I didn't wanna go see Black Panther, and I was hyped as hell to see that movie. Didn't want to hang out. Didn't want to go to the bars. I didn't want to do anything besides work on that. And while that sounds like a good thing, it isn't, because you need to have other priorities in your life. That's one. And two, you work. I knew I was working, so I was just obstinately sticking to my plan to wake up at 5:30 a.m. because I knew that the moment I let one excuse in the door, I'm gonna find myself having excuses so many other times throughout 2018. So I prefer to sacrifice a few days of productivity than to compromise the entire system of enhanced productivity. So I need to work on getting up at a better time, and that's going to be going to bed, sorry, at a better time, and that's going to be my focus for the next, well, perennially, but definitely starting this week. So far, I'm on day 2 of getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, which is good. Besides that, I think I now understand Steve Jobs' famous quote, one that I've heard year after year after year, and every time I heard it, I thought that quote is stupid as fuck, but now I think I get it. It was a little bit esoteric, and I think that my shift in mindset has allowed me to pick up on what he was alluding to, despite it being a little bit misworded. If I had to reword his quote, and his quote was something like this. It said, if today was your last day on the planet, would you do what you were about to do? And if your answer is no, then you need to change something. I can't really reproduce it verbatim because, like I said, I always thought it was stupid as shit, so I didn't reserve any mental space for memorizing that quote. But it was something like that. And now, how I think it should be worded is the scenario should be something like this. If your doctor called you today and said, yo, dude, I've been trying to get onto you since yesterday. You only had 24 hours to live. Now you only have like 1 or 2 hours. The question should be, given that scenario, how do you feel about how you just spent the last day? How do you feel about it? And when I identified as an actuary, I already know the answer. It would have been a shit ton of regret, just pangs and pangs of regret. Why? Because I was doing shit that I knew paid well, but that was the only impetus. I didn't give one fuck about any of that work. But now that I'm working on stuff that I care about, working on going after the dreams that I've shelved and forgotten about when life told me I can't do this and I can't do that, I'm working on those things. And so if a doctor really was to call me right now and ask me that question and tell me about that, when I sat to introspect as to how I spent the last day, I would be able to say, man, I wish he got onto me earlier because I would have done things differently. But given that he didn't, I'm content with how I spent my day because of what I spent my day working towards. And I think that is what Steve was really getting to. Because to keep it real, if we go with his rendition of it, which is, if you knew that this was the last day you have on Earth, would you do what you're about to do, man? So it would be fuck no to anything productive. I would be spending time with the girlfriend. I would be spending time with the family. I would be hopped up on every single drug on the planet because I don't need to employ strategies for long-term health if I'm going to be dead tomorrow. Give me maximum happiness and emotional bonding with my loved ones. So yeah, I think that's what Steve was alluding to. The last thing I wanted to do, though, was give a shout out to my girl, Wendy. I feel like every time I look at her social media, I feel like it's bi-weekly. She is making some sort of quantum leap as far as her doing some amazing things that I just want to grab her and ask her, like, how the heck are you doing all this shit? But I'm glad for her. I'm glad for her. And I am glad that she is doing this because I have the mindset of a duck instead of a crab. And yeah, I know y'all don't know what the heck I'm talking about, so I will elaborate a little bit. If you ever see crabs there's something called the crabs in a barrel syndrome. And if you've ever actually seen crabs in a barrel, you could leave them in a barrel with which they would otherwise be able to climb out of, if not for the fact that every time one of them gets ahead, there's some next asshole in the barrel that's going to pull them down. Every bloody time there's some next asshole that's going to do that, so none of them end up getting onto the barrel because they keep pulling each other down instead of letting the ones that are ascending ahead of them inspire them. And that is very different from how ducks operate. Ducks fly. If a duck is going to fly a distance that another duck can't fly, it wouldn't try to attack it. It would fly in formation with it, thus reducing the amount of energy required for that second duck to get to where it's going. When ducks fly in Vformation, I think that I don't know what the actual percentage is, but I think I've read somewhere that it's up to like 70% reduction. There's like a 70% reduction in the amount of energy required by the whole network of ducks to get to where they're going. So by flying in formation, you make it so that you are able to cover distances a lot further than you would have if you flew on your own. And I've always had that mindset. I've had to revamp my mindset around a lot of different things, but this is not one of them. If I see my people in the sun, I'm going to get fired up. I'm going to get this energy. And I use that to push myself harder than I would otherwise, because I want them to get as far as they possibly could. But the competitive part of me says, man, I just want to be somewhere in the same stratosphere with them. I want to be in the same room. I don't have to be King Kong, but I want to be in the same room. So that pushes me to go harder, because I want to be in the sun with them. And that is how I feel about Wendy. So kudos to her. I'm glad that she's doing these miraculous things. As much as I want to ask her how she's doing it, we're in different industries, and I know what works for Peter is not going to work for Paul. So I wanted to keep killing it, and she's going to that's going to keep me inspired and keep me revved up and keep me focused in making those big moves. But that has been my last week. Peeps, I will see you guys soon enough. Peace.